Kevin Buckler joins us on the phone. And winning with a broken clutch, lost the clutch. How did you make it, man? That's pretty amazing. Thanks, and welcome to Racing on Fox Sports Radio.
Yeah, this is the race that's full of more highs and lows than anyone can ever imagine, and going there, and we've worked for 2 months preparing for this race, and since we do race in, so many different series, I can tell you, unequivocally, there isn't a race that I've ever been involved in anywhere worldwide that's as difficult as this race, and you get there, you've stacked all the cars in your favor the best you can, and then you have a couple of things happen right away. The car that ended up eventually winning had a great lineup in it, 5 talented guys, and we ran over a piece of stinking debris out on the track. The car comes in, it's got no clutch. The only way to run this car really is to fix it, but that was it for us at that point. We'd be out 20 laps, we wouldn't win. The guys had already gone back to the garage and taken the tools back and everything, and everybody's heads were down, and the car's being pushed back, looking a cut in the wall. And I said, you know what? It's 20 laps if we go and fix it. If we break it, it's going to be 20 laps to fix it. Then I know the odds of finishing the race with no clutch and having to bump start it, 20, 25 times at all the pit stops is limited. But, screw it, let's go. And then the guys hopped back in the car, put his helmet on, and we took off. And we shifted clutchless for 16 hours, and the guys did a great job. And we started it at every single stop. And, even more so than that is if the car had any problems at all on track or there was a spin or anything, it would be stalled out on the track and we couldn't start it again. So, man, everything just lined up in our favor, and the guys did a stellar job. I'm so proud. I can't even believe it.
Yeah, I talked to Andy Lally on the grid for the day before the Continental Tire race over there, and I was talking to him and what he expected, and it's just a matter of getting through all those obstacles, man. It'll keep throwing things at you all race long, and it was very surprising to see, like you mentioned, on those pit lanes. You got to give props to the crew and what they have done, because restarts, push starting the car like that on pit lane, pretty amazing, man.
Yeah, one of the biggest multi-dimensional chess games I've ever been involved in, having to prepare for everything, every different front, back, up, down, and then still not controlling things like running over a piece of shrapnel and having to rip your clutch out of the car, your clutch line out. But it really is about what you do when curveballs are thrown at you. And, ironically, there's always a small handful of teams that go to the race that on the surface are equally prepared, but I swear it really comes down to what happens when something goes wrong. It's once it goes wrong, how does that team jump into action? How do those drivers respond? What kind of decisions are made? And how do you get that car back on the track? And what do you do from there? And I think that's where TRG really shines. And I'm just so proud to be the team leader. And I'm just a part of it. There's just a whole lot of people that make it happen.
That was like at one point in the race, it was Dempsey Racing. Looked like they were, had a hand win there, and then all of a sudden spun, couldn't get the car started again. That was it. They were done.
Yep. And, the car becomes more and more fragile as you move on. You can imagine if it was a Cup car or anything else, what would happen after putting that many hours and laps on it. So that's all part of the dance, and those guys ran a good race over there with the Dempsey Racing team, and Patrick's a friend of mine. He's a good guy, and he deserved a good finish. They've been at it for a long time. But it just wasn't their day.
Yeah, I was glad to see Patrick out there after getting shot on TV, how well he he came back. But great stuff, man. You guys put on one hell of a show. Talk about what it took to get that team to where it is. You had, I think, a total of 6 cars out there, 1 in the Continental and 5 in the Rolex. Talk about the effort behind the scenes on getting that done, the management of just that alone. It must have been hell.
Yeah, I don't even want to admit that I enjoy this kind of torture, but there's some sort of sick side of it that it sort of does in a way, because it is our
You're
signature.
Sick, man. You're sick.
We made the Rolex 24 our signature event many years ago because it really is the toughest race, and the preparation and the number of people and the logistics, and you just got to go out and get a whole lot of really good guys to sing in concert to make it work, and gals. We ended up with 5 cars plus 1 in the Conti race. There were about, I'm going to say total about 90 crewmen. We had 10 spotters up on the roof, 2 for each car.
Wow.
We had 25 golf carts. We had 14 motorhomes. We had 8 girls running the hospitality and shuttles. And we had a whole lot of friends and supporters there as well.
Hey, the only thing I heard out of that was 8 girls. That's all right. That's cool.
Yeah, not only that, and I always make kind of my standard joke is, man, you guys think one driver can be a pain?
Oh.
Try working with 24 of them for the weekend and see what happens. And I say that tongue-in-cheek because these guys are my friends, and they all work so hard. But indeed, this is their world, their time, their chance to shine. They put a lot together just to get them to the race. So this is one big oak tree with a whole lot of other sprouts coming off of it to make one single effort at winning the 24 Hours of Daytona, and it's pretty cool.
No doubt. All right, Kevin Buckler, thank you very much for joining us. And real quick, as an owner, what do you think of some of the changes that are out there with the new point structure, the chase for the championship, and the guys getting in the chase and the qualifying? What are your thoughts as an owner?
Yeah, I was reading all that stuff this morning. Tori Galita, our CMO, was down there. He took my spot and went to the owners' meeting this morning in Charlotte, and I wasn't able to go because I'm out in California now. But, I read most of the stuff. I've been hearing about it. There was a few more things announced this morning, and I think everything's positive. I mean, NASCAR, from my side, sees the challenges. They're trying to make changes to not only make things fairer and more balanced. I'm not a huge fan probably of the chase. I'd like to see everybody race up to the end, but I also am a fan of whatever it takes to steer more potential eyeballs and sponsors and happy fans to our sport. So if that's it, I'm going to go along with it. And saving measures for me are the big one. Anything we can do to save costs for a lot of the teams out there that struggle to be, in this expensive, very, very cool series. I think those are good. Owners' points look good to me. The drivers having to declare where they're going to race, I think that's a good thing. I'd like to see each of the independent series sort of stand on their own 2 feet. I know it's tough for the promoters. They want to have,
sure,
the big guys racing a nationwide, but I think as a nationwide team, if you're by yourself, you don't want to get buried. So, as usual, NASCAR does their homework. They're a bunch of smart guys, and they're trying, for the betterment of the sport. We're all usually aligned on this.
All right, my man. Hey, thank you very much for joining us. We do appreciate it. And as always, Kevin, man, a pleasure to have you on. Kevin Buckler, our guest here on the line, thank you very much, man.
Thanks, guys. It's an honor. I always appreciate the opportunity. Appreciate it.
No problem, my man. Thank you very much for joining us, Kevin Buckler, a friend of the program here. And here's how the points are going to work. TRG has a 71 in NASCAR. Those points go to the 27 for Menard. He makes the race in Daytona 500 for RCR. RPM, Richard Petty Motorsports, had the 98. That goes to the 71 of TRG. And then RPM also had 28 points that go to the 21 for the Woods brothers. That's how it all switches out. That will be up online here in a second. Race day on Fox.com. One and done on the phone on this Super Bowl Sunday. It's Race Day on Fox Sports Radio. Stick around, will you?